Yeah. Any particular advice for him?
Take it serious. Which I'm accustomed to, and he's going to be greatly mistaken.
No, I'll fight anybody, I'll spar anybody, I'll fuck anybody up. He said some nasty things, so he's funny and all that, but there is...
Mike Tyson warns Jake Paul not to step toward Anthony Joshua. Mike Tyson wants it known this showdown is far from a joke. Jake Paul is walking toward Anthony Joshua, a force with immense power, precision, and experience. Tyson senses the danger and believes Jake could be overpowered before he lands a punch.
Catch up with him and overpower him. I could be wrong. Little guys are difficult to fight because they're harder to hit, because they're smaller.
Adam Cattrall warns that Jake Paul is stepping into a fight far beyond his experience. Anthony Joshua remains a two-time heavyweight champion with size, skill, and power that should never be underestimated. I believe Jake faces danger, and this fight might end badly right from round one.
Mate, if he steps in with Anthony Joshua, and it's a proper fight and there's no restrictions or anything like that, he's going to get hurt. It is dangerous, it is bad for the sport, it should absolutely not happen. I know that the people will be saying, well, business, money, all these types of things. Come on, man. There's a cut-off point at some point, isn't there? If he steps in with Joshua, Joshua will hurt him badly and it will reflect badly on...
Eddie Hearn points out the gap between pure showmanship and real boxing. Jake Paul might thrill the crowd, yet Anthony Joshua remains a true heavyweight champion armed with skill, power, and experience. I honestly feel Jake is beyond his depth, and this matchup could reveal his limits harshly before the world.
I think YouTube, I don't even want to call it boxing, but misfit stuff, I think there's a place for it. I think it can be entertaining, but it's not boxing.
Yeah.
You know, boxing is very different. So I think what Jake Paul has done is, listen, at the moment, we're negotiating with Jake Paul fighting Anthony Joshua.
Yeah.
It's completely mental.
Carl Frock makes it clear. Jake Paul simply cannot match Anthony Joshua, and any clash between them is one-sided. Anthony Joshua carries power, technique, and ring intelligence that make him nearly untouchable. In my view, Jake is risking everything, a gamble that could collapse into disaster before the fight even sparks.
Well, tomorrow, wouldn't you?
Yeah, but we're both retired, and we'll be looking at it saying, still an easy fight because he can't box, he's useless. So it's risk-reward, minimum risk, massive reward. So of course...
Ryan Garcia breaks down the mismatch Jake Paul is stepping into. Anthony Joshua stands as a colossal heavyweight, brimming with strength and experience. Jake might steal a round or two, but this fight could reveal every flaw he carries. I believe Anthony Joshua will take control, and Jake will fight just to withstand the bout's relentless intensity.
Win 1 or 2 rounds, to me, that's a W. You know what I mean? So this fight is probably the worst fight that Jake Paul could have taken. Out of all the fights he probably had a choice, you know, myself, who else did they say? I forgot. The other guy, you know what I mean? That's worse. This is a big dude, heavyweight. Like, how you go from 135 to 225? Like, you know, it's going to be difficult, but...
Why do you think he takes it, Ryan?
He's just a dick.
Ben Vita Sr. emphasizes that Anthony Joshua towers over Jake Paul in both size and skill. Jake has trained hard, yet is up against a two-time heavyweight champion. I personally sense this fight might stretch on, but Anthony Joshua will dictate the pace and wield his power advantage, leaving Jake Paul with almost no chance.
I think that AJ is too much for Jake Paul at this point, and he's bigger than Jake Paul, in my opinion.
Do you think it's competitive? A lot of people are saying if AJ doesn't get him out of there in 2 rounds, it'll be a huge embarrassment.
I don't think that's not the case, that he's gonna get Jake Paul. At the end of the day, Jake Paul has been training hard too, and you know, he's a pretty good fighter. I don't think he would take him out in 2-3 rounds. I think maybe in the later rounds, or it might go to decision, you know, but I don't think...
Johnny Nelson highlights just how dangerous this fight truly is. Anthony Joshua doesn't mess around. He knocks opponents out. Jake Paul might thrill the fans, but against Joshua, his tricks and taunts hold no weight. I firmly believe Anthony Joshua will control every moment in the ring, leaving Jake Paul completely overwhelmed.
Because Jake Paul is crazy. If he thinks he can get it with Anthony Joshua, former 2-time heavyweight champion of the world, and play tiddlywinks, I don't think AJ plays touch. He plays knock the F out.
Eddie Hearn warns Jake Paul that Anthony Joshua's power is immense, and there's no room for error. Anthony Joshua is a seasoned champion who can finish a fight in an instant. In my view, Jake Paul is underestimating the threat, and this bout could turn one-sided in the blink of an eye.
But I said to Jake Paul, you ain't in a box, mate, and this ain't David Blaine. I said, so just be careful, because AJ will take your head clean off your shoulders, and it's you know, it's dangerous.
Yeah.
And you take on that responsibility, and we all have to, so we got to think about that. But this is Anthony fighting a top 50 cruiserweight in the world. It's not something that we would normally do.
Duke McKenzie issues a stark warning about the dangers Jake Paul faces against Anthony Joshua. Anthony Joshua is a former two-time heavyweight champion, packed with knockout power and world-class experience. Every sign points to Jake Paul walking into a massive mismatch. Joshua's size, speed, and technical edge set a scene where Jake will struggle to land meaningful shots. This is a fight likely dominated by Joshua from start to finish, and could end early if Jake underestimates the challenge.
I don't know, you know, I genuinely fear, like most people do, for Jake Paul, because if he fights Anthony Joshua, it's not going to end well.
Tommy Fury points out the vast gap between Jake Paul and Anthony Joshua. Joshua's speed, strength, and ring IQ make him one of the most dangerous heavyweights alive. Even carrying injuries or setbacks, he can still command the fight. Jake Paul simply doesn't have the experience to face a fighter of this level. Joshua's mix of power and technique is designed to end fights decisively and fast. Experts and former champions agree. Jake Paul stepping into the ring with Joshua is walking into a battle where merely surviving will be a test.
But if I can beat Jake Paul, then excuse my French, what the fuck is Anthony Joshua going to do to Jake Paul? I think my dad said that AJ could beat him with his prick, and I completely will back that up. Even if AJ had a broken arm in there, it still wouldn't go.
Frank Warren underscores the high stakes of this fight. Anthony Joshua is a two-time world heavyweight champion, and every skill he has is top tier. Jake Paul is licensed and trained, yet he lacks the experience and championship-level resilience Joshua possesses. This bout will challenge Jake Paul both physically and mentally. Joshua controls distance, timing, and power, forcing Jake to stay on defense constantly. Even with confidence, facing a proven champion carries huge risk. Joshua's dominance in past heavyweight fights makes the outcome highly predictable and firmly in his favor.
Right. It's a dangerous fight. Of course, it's all, you know, it's a dangerous fight. But I'm not here to be there selling their show. I've got no interest in the fighters from that perspective. I just think that he is a licensed boxer. He's trained. He knows what he's getting involved with. He's not an idiot, and he knows what he's going to be up against. But he must believe in himself to do it.
Derek Chisora issues a clear warning about the physical mismatch. Anthony Joshua's punching power has ended fights swiftly throughout his career, while Jake Paul has never faced a heavyweight of this level. Joshua's conditioning, technique, and knockout record make him nearly impossible to challenge. By stepping into the ring with Joshua, Jake Paul risks serious injury and early defeat. Every sign points to Joshua dominating from the opening bell, leaving Jake struggling to land meaningful punches. The fight is expected to be one-sided, with Joshua controlling every moment.
Whatever happens will be exciting.
Does he have the power to knock out Joshua?
No, he hasn't got the power to knock out Joshua.
How does that fight end?
Jake Paul going in an ambulance, bro.
Simon Jordan highlights just how huge the challenge is for Jake Paul. Anthony Joshua is a proven two-time world heavyweight champion, with strength, skill, and experience. Even with a loss to Daniel Dubois, Joshua remains fully capable of executing his game plan. His mental toughness and raw power make him an intimidating opponent. Jake Paul has never faced a fighter of this caliber. Joshua will control the pace, land precise heavy punches, and push Jake Paul into defense throughout the fight. Every sign points to Anthony Joshua dominating this contest.
Not his financial welfare, but Jake Paul going into a fight with Anthony Joshua, to me, is absurd. I mean, Anthony Joshua is a legitimate two-time heavyweight champion of the world. He may have got destroyed by Daniel Dubois, but notwithstanding, there's nothing physically wrong with Anthony Joshua that he can't execute. Mentally, he might be in a little bit of a difficult position.
Tony Bellew highlights the clear mismatch between Jake Paul and Anthony Joshua. Joshua has faced the world's best heavyweights, carrying knockout power, defensive skill, and top-level experience. Jake Paul is noticeably smaller and far less seasoned. Every fight record, statistic, past performance, and physical measure points to Joshua dominating. This bout carries serious injury risk for Jake Paul. Joshua controls distance, timing, and power in ways Jake simply cannot match. The outcome heavily favors Joshua, and the mismatch is obvious to anyone watching.
It's just a gross mismatch.
Yeah.
Like, you don't understand his health is in jeopardy. So I'm not even entertaining it. I just think it's dangerous. And listen, I might have to work it, but it's just...
It's kind of ludicrous, isn't it, really?
It's insane. This boy is nuts. He's nuts, and I think he's putting his life before he's putting his life.
Tyson Fury's claim that Jake Paul could knock out Anthony Joshua is highly debated. Joshua remains a world-class heavyweight with speed, technique, and knockout power. Jake Paul has never faced an opponent of this level and lacks experience against elite heavyweights. Joshua controls the ring, adapts mid-fight, and has consistently shown he can finish opponents decisively. While Jake Paul has grown in size, there's no evidence he can overcome the technical and physical superiority of a two-time heavyweight champion. All signs strongly favor Joshua controlling every round.
I don't know about tune up. I think Jake Paul knocks him out.
Seriously?
Yeah. Yeah.
Why so? What impresses you about Jake Paul?
I just think Jake Paul would knock AJ out. I think AJ's a spent force, and I think Jake Paul's on the rise. And I like his new heavyweight look.
Spencer Oliver explains how Anthony Joshua approaches this fight strategically. Winning warm-up bouts is part of his plan to stay sharp while managing risk. Joshua is physically dominant and highly skilled, making Jake Paul an untested and dangerous opponent. At this stage, Joshua can control the pace, leverage experience, and avoid unnecessary risks while still benefiting financially. Jake Paul is unproven at heavyweight level and lacks the championship experience Joshua possesses. Every statistic, past result, and physical measure points to Joshua dominating while minimizing exposure, showing this fight is truly unequal.
Well, Anthony Joshua was talking about wanting warm-up fights before going into bigger fights, but look, it's prize fighting at the end of the day, and the way that Joshua was here and Matchroom and all the team, the fans won't like this, by the way. But
I don't like it
no,
either.
I don't like it either. But the way that Joshua is here is as a money grab. He'll see it as an easy money grab, but at this stage of his career, is it a fight he should be taking? Nah.
Dave Allen highlights the immense pressure on Jake Paul facing Anthony Joshua. Joshua is a former two-time world heavyweight champion with elite power, accuracy, and fight IQ. Jake Paul has limited experience against opponents of this caliber and cannot match Joshua's technical skill or physical strength. Even if Jake lasts a few rounds, he will be dominated by Joshua's control of distance and power. Every past result and performance record points to Joshua dictating the fight and securing a decisive victory, leaving Jake Paul struggling to prove himself.
If he does take him rounds, if he does hold him up, if he does play the game and get a few rounds in, and it's a bit of an exhibition style thing, he'll never be taken serious by most paying public ever again. So I just think it's a no-win situation for Anthony Joshua, apart from the 50 million quid, of course, which is not too bad.
The stage is set for an epic showdown between Anthony Joshua and Jake Paul. Every sign points to Joshua as the superior fighter, with world-class power, skill, and experience. Jake Paul may have grown, but stepping into the ring with a two-time heavyweight champion is a monumental challenge. Joshua commands distance, timing, and punch precision like no other. He has faced and defeated the best heavyweights in the world and can end fights decisively. From the opening bell, Joshua will impose his strategy and dictate the pace. Jake Paul will struggle to land meaningful shots, forced onto constant defense. The physical mismatch and technical gap are undeniable. Fans everywhere are watching closely, and every indicator favors Joshua securing a clear victory. Are you backing Joshua, or do you believe Jake Paul can pull off the impossible? Share your thoughts below and join the debate.